I'll try and be quick, Mr Speaker.
No, take as long as you want.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. But can I firstly acknowledge the member for New England and my predecessor as the Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources. And in fact, a lot of the environment that we've put around the agricultural sector with respect to drought policy comes from his leadership. The Agricultural Competitive White Paper also built that resilience and environment around our agricultural sector. It was ahead of its time, and to him, this parliament and this nation owes a lot of gratitude too. This government, since coming into power, has invested over $1 billion around drought assistance, not only for farmers but also small communities, because it's not just the farmers that hurt during drought, it's the small businesses that support those farmers, those small communities. And it's important that we acknowledge that and we ensure that our policy settings not only support the resilience of our farming sector, but it also goes to support those small regional communities. And we've done that through a number of ways, through one in which we're about to pass some legislation around the farm household assistance to extend that, to put dignity into those farmers that are doing tough, be able to put bread and butter on the table, to be able to put fuel in the car to send the kids in, to take them to sport on the weekend. But we've also been able to ensure we've got a concessional loan piece that now we'll be able to put through the Regional Investment Corporation, but also the Droughts Community Program, putting $35 million into small regional communities to allow them to build projects that'll use local contractors. In my electorate of Marinara, I can assure you there's little communities like Quilpie and Cunnamulla that have been able to do new projects to their racecourse, using local contractors, keeping them busy. But the farm household assistance also, that $538.80 a fortnight, goes into the local supermarket, keeping the employment of those communities alive and well during the tough times. We've also made sure that we've made an investment in pests and weeds. And in my own electorate in Queensland, we've put $13 million into wild dog fencing, and it's lifting the lambing rates from around 7% up to 85%. And what that does is build resilience, so when it does rain, our primary producers are able to take advantage of the commodity prices that are there because of the trade agreements we put in place, but also allows them to recover. And we've also seen the environmental benefits of these dog fencing. We're seeing a large increase in small marsupials, brolgas and even koalas coming back because of the investment that we've made in partnership with the primary producer to ensure that we build resilience, to get them through the drought, to prepare them for the next drought, but ensure that they take advantage of the great commodity prices that we put in place. So our investment, our drought investment in regional communities and in farmers, is not just about keeping them alive and going through a drought. It's going beyond that. It's looking towards building that resilience so that when it does rain, they take advantage, and when they go to the next drought, they're not as reliant on the Commonwealth. And that's an important piece that we've put together, a strategic piece. And the member for New England was at the fore of that and needs to be acknowledged for all his work for that. There were some comments made in speech by the member for Hunter and his amendments, particularly around the intergovernmental agreement on drought with the states. Sadly, again, trying to score cheap political points without understanding the facts. It will not end on the 1st of July. It will not end on the 1st of July. In fact, AgMin agreed that it would continue on, and in fact we will have one that will be finalised by September. But instead a cheap political point, politicising drought, the hardship. And it would be good if the member for Hunter got out of Newcastle and in fact came out and sat, as the Prime Minister, myself and the Deputy Prime Minister, and sat at farmers' kitchens tables as I have. He's never sat at a kitchen farmer's table in the last 12 months. I would put money on that. The reality is to sit out there and to listen to the stories and to be able to understand the policy settings that we put in place. That's what we do as a government. That's what the Prime Minister did. And I challenge the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition, not one brass razoo did he commit in his budget reply speech to agriculture.
Did he mention it?
Oh, only in passing. Only in passing did he mention it. He's made two significant national addresses, one to the National Press Club. Not once did he use the word agriculture. The Leader of Opposition didn't even utter the word agriculture, wouldn't use the A word, and in passing talked about it, but didn't even commit $1 extra under an alternative government to agriculture. That's an indictment on those opposite. They don't understand agriculture and they don't care about agriculture. But we are making sure that we're making those investments that are strategic. And to come in and then to talk about the Regional Investment Corporation and to say that we don't have a CEO and it hasn't been set up. Well, to sit there and say that the only reason the Regional Investment Corporation didn't come into effect was because of the sabotage of the Labor Party and not allowing it to get through the Senate. And I blew his world away. My first parliamentary win in my first parliamentary week as the Minister for Agriculture, I was able to convince, yeah, it rocked your world. It rocked your world. I was able to get the crossbenchers to change their minds and to allow the Regional Investment Corporation to get through. And it had Senator Wong and the member for Hunter scrambling all over the place, wondering who on the crossbench had changed their mind. But we got it through, and it's ready to start, ready to roll on the 1st of July, giving concessional loans. And again, just the politicisation of trying to stop a piece of infrastructure, an investment in drought concessional loans, politicising drought, the hardship of these people. We're better than that. We are better than that. And the member for Hunter is better than that. He is. He genuinely gets it. But unfortunately, he's decided to make cheap political points rather than coming on the journey of trying to make a difference in those people's lives in regional and rural Australia. They're doing it tough at the moment. There's a way forward, and this parliament can find that. And I know the member for Hunter can do that. The reality is we are putting that framework around. But the exciting piece, and actually the piece that I'm most excited about with what we are doing with the farm household assistance is not just handing the money out every fortnight. We're allocating a caseworker to each one of these people. So that it's not just a handout. They'll sit down, and we've invested an extra $20 million in rural financial counsellors. That's going to secure their services to 2020, but also there's around $3.5 million of that will go to increased services for demand. And so we'll have someone that's going to sit around their kitchen table, get under the bonnet of their business and have the tough conversations. We've got to be honest. We've got to be honest. Some people are going to have to make some tough decisions. They're going to have to make some tough decisions about what their future is. But that needs to be done in a calm and decisive way. They need time. So by extending the farm household assistance by a year, we let them to do that, to make those decisions with dignity and respect. That they have those conversations with the experts that will sit down and have that conversation about whether they should continue or not. This is about making sure that the right decisions are made in the right mindset. And then while we're out in Western Queensland and Western New South Wales, we also made an additional commitment of $2 million towards online psychological services. People in drought-affected areas, and particularly in parts of my electorate that have been drought-affected for up to 7 years, are fatigued, and they're hurting, and they need some help, and they need that help in an emotional sense. Being able to reach out and to have the ability to do it from the sanctity of their own home is important to them. And it's important that we all, and I know those opposite join me, that the stigma of mental health should never be one that no one should ever ask for help. We live in a great country, and this investment is about allowing people to reach out. And I ask everybody that, whether you're okay or not, to reach out to someone near you and ask, are they okay? Because I've seen firsthand the emotional torment that some of these people are going through. 7 years without an income, 7 years without seeing what their blood, sweat and toil could become is heartbreaking. So it's important that we make those investments not only in a financial sense but in an emotional sense. So that's why what this government has done with respect to farm household assistance and other drought assistance packages is around making sure it's a whole measure around emotional, financial, making sure that we're investing in the resilience of regional and rural Australia and farmers. I'm proud to say that the farm household assistance will give our farmers that dignity, that opportunity to reflect and to be able to work through the issues that they need to work through to ensure they can make the right decisions for themselves, their family and their community. I commend the bill to the House.
Thank you.